Welcome back. In this video, we will get the sort of our opponent, the computer opponent, working, and then we'll take a look at maybe a little bit about the game manager, which we haven't talked about yet. So let's take a look here. We've already got our player, we've got our ball, the ball's moving, the player's working, we've got the top and bottom boundaries. Let us go ahead and duplicate the player and turn that into our enemy, right? Our computer opponent. And so what I'm just going to do here is click on the player paddle, Control D, we'll duplicate it. Let's change the name and we can call it, doesn't matter, keep that there as a player paddle, computer paddle. Now, later on, right, you might want to make it into a two-player game. At the moment, we'll just go with the AI system. So we'll call that computer paddle. One thing I will do right away is remove this component. The player movement isn't necessary, so remove that. We will create a new script, okay? So let's go to our scripts again. Whoops, double-click in there. We will create a new script. C# script, obviously, and we had player movement. Let's call this computer movement. I mean, we could call it opponent movement, AI movement, something like that. And we'll open that up. Player movement. Okay. Don't know why the other one didn't open up. That's interesting. They're on separate ones here. Let's just get rid of this guy. Sorry about that. And try again here. Computer movement. There we go. Okay, so what our objective here is to get the computer paddle to follow the ball, basically. And this, again, is something that you can sort of improve on or modify, but we'll sort of make it pretty straightforward here. So what's going to happen right at the start, actually, let's create a couple variables first. So just give yourself a little bit of room at the top. We will create a public, we'll make it float, and we'll call it speed. So again, we can control the speed of the player, or sorry, of the computer, and we'll definitely set that as public because we might want to, again, modify it depending on the game. Okay, depending on your modifications that you want to do. Public again, and I mean this one, yeah, probably we would want a public game object, and we'll call that the ball. The idea here is that the computer AI needs to know where the ball is. So that's why we need to find it. We'll do that in a minute here. Vector2, again, just like our player script, right? We had a vector2. Well, we'll call this the target. I called it the target position. I'll call it the comp position. Comp pos. There we go. Let's sort of keep it similar to our other one. Let me just go double check our player movement. We had our player pos, right? This one we will call our comp pos, sure, or computer pos. Let's make it computer pos, just to be a little bit more consistent there. So first thing we'll do, we'll start the game, and we'll have to probably play around a little bit with this later on, but for the time being, we're going to look for a game object, and we can actually find and we'll put a tag on it. We'll find the object with the tag ball. Okay, so what it's going to do is at the start, it's going to look for the ball and hopefully find it. Okay, if it doesn't find it, we'll deal with that sort of in the script here in this update later on, though. We'll just make it very easy to start with. So what we need to do is set our computer position to be a vector2. Now this is going to be a little bit different, and we can look this up and talk about lerp. And so you can kind of see here it says lerp linearly interpolates between vectors A and B by t. Basically what it's going to do is move the object. We're going to change the position between two positions in a linear fashion, sort of in a smooth, sort of same velocity fashion. And so what we're going to do here is basically take our current position, so transform.position, that is the computer's position at the moment, and we're going to interpolate it towards the ball's position. Ball.transform.position. So basically we're moving the paddle towards the ball's position, and then like it says there, by t. So t here is going to be our time dot delta time. So time dot delta time times that speed. So again, we can make it faster or slower depending on what we want to do. Okay, so remember this is just setting the position, and then we actually have to transform the position of this. So transform dot position is equal to a new vector 2, and now this one's a little bit different. Or sorry, it's the same, right? We want to keep our x position, static, right? We don't want it moving. So I'm just going to go check that out. And so I had put the computer pedal right on top of our player pedal. I'm going to drag it over. Now, this one here, let's just take a look. I think it was, so here was player pedal was 11.5. So this is going to be, it should be 11.5 positive. And that seems about right. So let's go back to our script and just set that in. So it's going to be 11.5 F on the X, and our Y is going to be based on this computer position lerp, right? On this, wherever it is. So really we're just grabbing even though we're doing both the X and the Y here, what we're really wanting is just the Y. And so what we'll do is take the computer position dot. We only want the Y component. That will grab the second value, right? That's what we want. And there we go. So let's see if this works. I'm hoping it will. Oh, one thing we have to do though is obviously tag the ball. So let's make sure we do that before we forget. Okay, so this looks good. It's updating. Go to ball. It's untagged. There's no tag. We need to add a tag, create the tag, ball, and I used a capital letter, save it. This is always the issue, right? It's still untagged, so we've got to go back, tag it, and we should be good. Now, the other thing, of course, is making sure the script is on here, computer, there it is. Now, I made that public, so that would be nice for us to see. The speed is 0 at the moment, so let's give it some speed. Hit play. So 2 things I'm watching for. I'm playing. Okay, that's bouncing. That's good. So the ball is there. The paddle is moving. And hey, it hit it back. Great. So, we got Pong working. Brilliant. Now, it's sort of playing. Yeah, and you can see, Pong has its limited abilities, right, in terms of entertainment value. But the key thing is that this is working without any problem. Good. Now, we might want to reduce the speed of this, speed of the ball, things like that to make it a little bit better. But like I said, we actually have a game, right? We can sort of, play it here. Now, there's a couple interesting things that we have to deal with next. One is what happens when you lose, right? The ball at the moment, if I lose, let's just play this here. Right, let's just say I'm really bad and I just let it go. Well, yeah, it goes on forever, right? There goes the ball. My enemy or my opponent is trying to track that ball. But yeah, the game would never restart. So we have to come up with a solution to getting it to sort of, basically, reset, I guess, restart the game or, refresh the ball when it goes out. It'd be nice to have some sort of score going on here. And also, when the ball leaves, right, then it's good to sort of restart it and then sort of replay it. So those are all things that we have to look at here. Now, it's going to get a little bit more complex here as we get to the game manager, and we're going to sort of be jumping back and forth a little bit between the scripts as we try to get it all to work together. But I'll do my best to sort of explain it as we go here. So first thing that we'll do, and we'll just sort of complete the video by doing this, is that once the ball leaves, basically we want to get rid of the ball, okay? Now, before we just sort of do that, let's make a prefab out of that ball. because what's going to happen is we're going to destroy the ball, but at some point we want to bring it back and sort of reinstantiate, bring it back into the game. So once it leaves and we destroy it, we can't bring it back unless it's a prefab, basically. So what I'm going to do here is, if you remember how to make the prefab, just grab that game object. I'm going to go into my assets. Actually, let's make a prefab while we're at it. Create folder, prefabs, not gabs, frabs, there we are. And then just drag the ball into it. And there it is. Okay, now the ball is a prefab. And like I said, that will let us, bring it back if we need to. Okay, so next thing, if we go back to our scene here, is to make sure that when we're looking at the ball, we want to figure out where is it going to be when it's considered out. And again, I would just basically go, just beyond the camera view. So on the camera view here, it looks like, and we can go a little bit further too. It doesn't really matter. About -13, and just to double check, but it should be about +13. Yeah. So if it's outside there, it's outside the game. It looks like the ball has left the court, and it would make sense. So keep those two numbers in mind, -13 and +13. Now, who would know that? Well, the ball would know it if it's out. So what we'll do is we'll put the script on the ball. So I'm going to go back into my scripts, click on my ball movement, and then in the update here, I am going to put a couple little conditions. So, and we'll just keep it simple at the start here. So if, so we're putting a condition, if the transform dot position dot x, we're only really worried in the x here. So if that position is, we'll do one here that's less than -13. So if it's less than -13, well, what we'll do is we'll just destroy the game object. We'll destroy it, get it to destroy itself. Now, this is going to cause some problems. And like I said, that's why it's going to be a bit of a work in progress here. Okay, so that looks pretty good. What I'm going to do is copy that. It's taking a while to copy there for some reason. Okay, I'm going to paste it in, and I'm just going to change it so that if it's greater than 13, right? So if it's going the other way, it will destroy itself as well. So let's just make sure this works, and then we'll finish this video here. So I'm saving that up, going back to Unity. And I'm just going to check the player first. So what we should see is that the ball disappears from the game, and likely an error is going to pop up as well, because the computer paddle will no longer be able to find it. Okay, but so there's the error. We do get a pause here because this error has been thrown. That's not a big problem, but the ball has disappeared. That's the important thing. And the reason why it's given a problem here is because now the computer doesn't know where the ball is. And that's why I said we'll have to fix up the computer paddle script as well here, because you can see this is missing now. The ball, the game object, it's gone, it's missing. The computer's not happy. Let's just make sure it's working the other way as well. So what I'm going to do is cheat a little bit to make sure that the computer does not hit the paddle, setting its speed to 0 there. Okay, it will restart. The ball will respawn, right? So that's fine. Whoops. Try again. There we go. Boom. Okay, so again, the ball disappeared. That's what we were looking for, but that, it's missing, but that's the important thing. The ball disappeared. Good. Now, one thing I did notice is that the player's not starting in the center. So I'm just going to fix that up, and then we'll end this video here. So just like we did with the player movement, right? We had this starting thing. In fact, I'm just going to grab all this, Control C. That was from the player movement. I'm going to go to the computer movement. We found, the ball. I'm going to paste this in. And of course, instead of player pos, we have computer pos. And we don't want it at -11.5. We'll have it at +11.5. And transform division, we'll make that computer pos as well. So let's just take a look at that. Saved it, popped back to Unity. Don't worry about that error. I just want to make sure that the player